We continue now at the top of Daf Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph in Meseches Gittin. This is Gittin Daf 33a. On the previous Amud, the Gemara was discussing the line in the Mishnah which says that originally a husband was able to be mevatel the get in front of Bezdin. And the question was, how many people was that he was originally able to be mevatel the get in front of? And Rav Nachman said it's in front of 2 people, and Rav Sheshes said it's in front of 3 people. Now, Rav Sheshes said in front of 3 people because it uses the term Bezdin, and Bezdin usually refers to 3 people. But Rav Nachman now is in the middle of bringing a proof from a Mishnah Meseches Shvius, where it talks about Pruzbul, and it says Ploni uploni hadayonin shavemakom ploni. It says so-and-so and so-and-so who are judges b'makom ploni, and so you see that 2 people are referred to as dayonim. As Rashi says, Ploni uploni, trei mashma, sounds like they're only 2 individuals, but kari luhu dayonim, they're called dayonim. It seems that you could call 2 people a bezdin, and that's Rav Nachman's proof that 2 people, that's also what it was in terms of bittul haget. But the Gemara continues, Rav Sheshes responds to Rav Nachman, Atu Tana ki ruchla leichshe v'lezel, is the Tana like a peddler that has to count everything, meaning to say, it really means to say 3 people, even though it says Ploni uploni, it really should have said Ploni uploni uploni, but the Tana is not going to list off everyone. It is obvious that if we're talking about a bezdin, it's 3 people. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Nachman says, Min no amin Allah, from where can I tell you, from where can I prove that a bezdin can refer to 2 people? The Tanan, as we learned in the Mishnah, Hadayonim chosmen et lamata o edim. It says the dayonim or the edim, they sign down below. And Rashi says chosmen lamata, again, Gabe Pruzbul Tanan. This is also a Mishnah by Pruzbul Tanan Lab Meseches Shvius. This is in Meseches Shvius. And so again, you see over here, it says the dayonim or the edim sign. My lav is it not? Dayonim dumya de edim doesn't mean dayonim similar to edim. Ma edim shnayim, af dayonim nami shnayim. Just like edim means 2 witnesses, so too the dayonim who are signing are also 2 witnesses. And therefore you see again that dayonim, you can refer to 2 individuals as dayonim. But Rav Sheshes responds, Midir, who says that's the case? Hakid Isa, Hakid Isa. One is what it normally means, and the other is what it normally means. Meaning to say, if you're signing Edim on the bottom, that's 2 individuals. If you're signing Dayanim on the bottom, that's 3 individuals. And so the Gemara says, but if that's the case, Lamali Lamisna Dayanim, Lamali Lamisna Edim. So why does it have to learn both Dayanim and Edim, if that is the case? Rashi here explains, Lamali Lamisni Dayanim o Edim, Pshita Desagi Bahani o Bahani. Obviously, it's obvious that if you can use Edim, you can use Dayanim. Velisni Edim v'adini Chasmi Dayanim. You should just say that Edim signed the Pruzbul, and of course everyone would know that if judges sign the Pruzbul, all the more so that it should be effective. And to that the Gemara says, Hakamash Malon, what it comes to teach you is, Deloshna Ksov Beloshin Dayanim v'Chasmi Edim. It doesn't matter if it's written with a language of the court, but witnesses sign Veloshna Ksov Beloshin Edim v'Chasmi Dayanim. And it doesn't matter if it's written with the language of witnesses and it's signed by judges. In other words, the formulation and who signs it, it doesn't have to line up consistently. Rashi says, Beloshin Dayanim kagon Beidina Havina v'asa ploni v'yamar lana mosarni lechem ploni uploni. That would be a formulation of Bezdin. We are a Bezdin, so-and-so came and he did this Pruzbul, v'chasmi Edim, and then Edim signed Beloshin Edis kagon ish ploni ed. They sign ish ploni ed. And it doesn't matter if it's done the other way around. Veloshna, Kasabaloshan Eidos, Kagon Duchran Sahadusa, Tahavian Pana. This was the testimony that was in front of us. Vechasmi Lamata Ani Ploni Dayan, and then the signature at the bottom says Dayan. And the Gemara continues at the 2 dots. The Mishnah said, Mipnei Tikun Ha'olam, the reason why a husband is not allowed to be Mevatel the get if he's not in front of the wife is because of Tikkun Ha'olam. And the Gemara says, Mai Mipnei Tikkun Ha'olam. What is the Tikkun Ha'olam? What is the benefit to the world by saying that the bittul of the get has to be in front of the wife? Rabbi Yochanan Amar Mipnei Takonas Mamzerim. Rabbi Yochanan says it's a takana in terms of Mamzerim. Reish Lakish Amar Mipnei Takonas Agunos. Reish Lakish says it's a takana because of Agunos. And the Gemara now explains. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Mipnei Takonas Mamzerim. Rabbi Yochanan says the reason is because we don't want there to be Mamzerim. Savar Lakar Rav Nachman. So Rabbi Yochanan holds like Rav Nachman, the Amar Bifnei Shnayim, who says that what they used to do was they would be mevatel again in front of 2 people. Ubeitrei leslu kolin. When you do something in front of 2 people, the word does not go out. V'hilo shama, so she's not going to hear that the get was batel. V'lo yada, she won't know. V'yazlo mitzvah, then she'll go and remarry even though she's really not divorced. And that's a problem of mamzerim, and that's why they stopped that practice. V'ika mamzerim, there's going to be mamzerim, and therefore again that's why they stopped the practice. Reish Lakish says, Mimnei takonas agunos. The benefit is to stop a situation of agunos, to stop a situation of women who are chained in their marriage. And the idea there is, Savar Lak Rav Sheshas, he holds like Rav Sheshas, D'Amar B'fnei Gimel, who says that the way they used to be mevatel, not in front of the wife, was in front of three people. Ubeit Lasa Islu Kala, and three people, the word does go out. V'shama v'yada, so she's going to hear about it, she'll know about it. V'lo minsava, she certainly won't get remarried. It's not an issue that mamzerim will occur. But takonas agunos hudika, what it really is a takonas agunos. Rashi explains what's the takonas agunos. Takonas agunos hudika, that's rechine leilech acharav. Now we're requiring the husband, he's got to go follow the shliach, or the shloach shliach, or he's got to send the shliach. In other words, he has to pursue whoever it is that's delivering the get, and either he has to reach the shliach or reach the wife. He doesn't want to take such effort just in order to make her a chained wife, so it prevents him from doing something like this. Because otherwise, if a person can just easily be mevatel a get, so husbands will easily be mevatel gittin, and it's going to cause a problem of aguna. And the Gemara continues, Tanu Rabban, and the rabbis taught, Bitlo mevutel divrei Rebbe, Rav Shimon ben Gamliel Omer, Eino Yachol lo levatelo v'lo lehosav al tano, Shimkein makoach bezin yafe. Rebbe says that let's say a person does nullify it after the takon of Rabbi Gamliel, when a person is really not supposed to be nullifying the get in front of bezin, not in front of the wife or in front of the shliach who's delivering it, but let's say he does do it. Let's say he is mevatel it in front of bezin, and it's not in the presence of the wife, and it's not in presence of the shliach who's in the middle of delivering it. So according to Rebbe mevutel, it is batel, and Rashi says, Bitlo lachar takonas Rabbi Gamliel b'fnei bezin mevutel diafagav do'avar atakanto batel shlichusa. Even though he transgressed the takon of Rabbi Gamliel, but still it works. He did something wrong, but the get is nullified. Rav Shimon ben Gamliel says, no, you cannot be mevatel it anymore, and also you're not able lahosif al tano. You can't add any conditions. Im haya bo shum tanai, if there was some kind of tanai, and then you want to add something to the tanai, you can't do that. And the reason is because Shimkein makoach bezin yafeh. If so, what would be the strength of bezdin? And Rashi says makoach bezin shel takonas Rabbi Gamliel yafeh im divrein betelim al yedei zeh. What would be the strength of the takon of Rabbi Gamliel if a person could just violate it and it would still be effective? And the Gemara says umi ikamidi, but is there such a thing like this? The midoraisa batal gita. You're saying on a doraisa level the get really is batal. Rashi says the midoraisa batal gita sharei lo bali yada. The get hasn't reached her. V'zeh bitul as hashliach mio shluchu legeirushin. On a doraisa level, what's wrong with the bitul? He was mevatel the shliach. He said this individual is no longer a shliach for gerushin purposes. So is it possible that on a doraisa level the get is not effective? Umishum makoach bezin yafeh. But because of this argument that we want to make sure that bezin has strength, sharina neisha sishli alma. Now we say that the get is effective, and we're going to allow a married woman to remarry other individuals. How could that be? And the Gemara says, yes, that could be. The Bezdin does have the strength to take a situation where really on a doraisa level the get is batel, but Bezdin can say that the woman actually is not considered married because called the Mekadesh adaita the Rabbanon Mekadesh. Anyone who has a kedushin, he's doing it on the das of the Rabbanon, and therefore vafki inu Rabbanon lekedushin minei. The Rabbanon are able to uproot that kedushin, and that's how it's possible that this wife is now free from this marriage. Amar le Ravina le Ravashi. Ravina said to Ravashi, Teinach to Kaddish bekasba. I can understand how this works if the kedushin was done with money. Kaddish bebia ma'ikol meimar. But if the kedushin was done with an act of bia, an act of relations, what can you say over there? How could they undo that kedushin? And to that the Gemara says, Shavi Rabbanan lebilaso bilas nos. The Rabbanan are able to render his act of bia as a bia of znos. It is no longer considered a bia of kedushin. And Rashi explains, Adaita de Rabbanan Mekadesh. Anyone who's Mekadesh is doing it on the das of the Rabbanan, on the das of the rabbis. Leos Kedushin, Cholin Kedos Moshe Yisrael, meaning the Kedushin is Chal according to the law of Moshe and Yisrael. Shenhigo Chachmei Yisrael, however the Chachmei Yisrael conducted. V'harei Mamru Sheyafkiu Kol Kedushin Shav Yisrael Al Yedei Get Kozeh. And they say that the Kedushin is undone through a get in this situation. Helkach Paki Al Manas Ken Kitcha, therefore the Kedushin is undone. That's all part of the conditions of the original Kedushin. Teinach the Kaddish Bekasba, then the Gemara said that makes sense by money. Equal Memar Afkinu Kedushin beget the Divrein. V'yamru lahavim mos lemafrei matana. There they can say lemafreya retroactively. We're rendering any money that was given for Kedushin. We're saying it was just a gift. Umemela paku sharei k'shekiddush almanas ken kiddush. Memela, that entire Kedushin goes away because again that was the condition. But Kaddish bebia dekaimelon bekedushin michiyikach ish isha uboala. The isha miskadeshes nami bebia ma'afkata equal Memar b'habia. How could they undo an act of bia? And to that the Gemara says, Shavi Ma'avir Rabbanan Lahibiyah Lemafreya Al Yedei Get Zeh. Retroactively, the Rabbanan can say that this biyah is a be'ilas, is nus, the afku shem kiddushin minha. They can take it away from being called a kiddushin. V'yesh b'en koach lekach. They have the strength. Sharei kashakidesh al minhag chok dasam kiddush. Because when the kiddushin happened, it happened through the law that's established by the chachamim. Kachani mefarish b'chol makom milibi. That's my opinion. How you explain this Gemara. Rashi does go on to offer another explanation that he received as a tradition from his teachers, but Rashi says that explanation has many difficulties. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Amar li asara kisvu get liishti. If a person says to 10 people, write a get for my wife, Yachol levatel zeh shelo b'fnei zeh divrei Rebbe. He can be mevatel this one, not in front of this one, meaning this individual. He can be mevatel him, not in front of the other ones. Rav Shimon ben Gamliel says, Eino yachol levatel elo zeh b'fnei zeh. He can only be mevatel one in front of the other. Rashi says, Amar li asara kisvu gel ishti v'kaimalon kol kama delomar kulchem. Now the halacha is, if he didn't say kulchem, if he just said to 10 people, write a get for my wife, so the halacha is echad kosev, ushnayim chosman, one of them writes it, 2 of them sign it. You don't need to have everybody signing that get. And so we have a machlokas tanoim, yochol levatel, mutter levatel, velomar l'shnayim mehem, meaning he can say to 2 of them, al tichtavu, you can't write it. V'ein zelak or takonos Rebbe Gamliel. That doesn't uproot the takon of Rebbe Gamliel if he just says to 2 of the individuals, not in front of the other ones, that you're not allowed to write it. But the other opinion is eino yochol she'av zumin takona. That's also part of the takona. He can't just tell 2 people not in front of the others that it's batul. V'im batul einu mevutal. If he tries to do it, it's not going to work. Dim kein makoach bezin yafa. Because otherwise, what is the strength of bezin? So that's machlokas tanoim again. Rebbe and Reb Shimon Gamliel, and the Gemara now explains the machlokas. But my komifli, what exactly are they arguing about? They're arguing about the following principle: Be'edus shebal miksasa balakul. If you have an edus and part of the edus is nullified, does that automatically mean the entire thing is nullified? Kamiflagi, that's what they're arguing about. Rebbe holds edus shebal miksasa. If you have edus where part of it is nullified, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Lamed Gimel Amud Beis.